No time for an introduction. Let's go ahead and get into it. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? I know it's been a minute. Welcome to the doggone show or YouTube. Welcome to YouTube, you guys. I know it's been a minute, and this video is supposed to have been put out like days ago. However, I got I'm gonna say extremely, but I got very, very sick to the point where I just couldn't. Good thing was I had all my clips recorded, but like this part, the talking and then getting to the editing, I was planning on doing the day it was supposed to be released, supposed to be, done that day, and I was gonna do all my editing and go ahead and finish up. But when I tell you, life just be lifing. Life just be lifing. So I don't know. But in either case, I'm here. Welcome. For those of y'all who don't know me, my name is Trey Allen, and I normally perform on TikTok. You can find me at Allen the Storyteller or Trey.Allen, I believe is what it actually pulls up as. But yeah, you can find me there. I talk about a lot of crime, kind of in a funny way. Not, well, you have to watch it to understand what I'm talking about. Like, whatever. I am also on Facebook, which that Facebook page I need to work on more. Y'all know what I found out? Someone has actually stole my stuff on Facebook. So there's a whole nother page that's using all my pictures, all my videos and everything. And they have like thousands upon thousands of followers. And it's all my stuff. And I was like, what the flipping doodle? I don't know. But I'm flattered, I guess. I'm flattered. Anyway, today, y'all, we are going to be talking about a story that I have been wanting to do for quite a while. When I say I'm going to want to do for quite a while, not necessarily this particular story, but kind of in the realm of this particular story. So the story that we're talking about today is it's a true story. It's all true. And it's a story about cowboys, like real cowboys. So it's like outlaw, 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s type of stuff. Like, it's really cool, which that was around the time where it was the end of the cowboy phase, but still, it was pretty good. So if you guys have never heard of this story, well, sit down, because I've never heard of it either until I looked it up. But it's actually a pretty good story. As for now, all that you guys need to know is we're about to go ahead and get started. So buckle in. Y'all get your wait, I forgot. Don't judge the cowboy hat, all right? This is not mine. I had to borrow from someone. I didn't have a cowboy hat. That's why I still got a tag back there. Wait, I don't know about those. Hold on, let me see. Does that work? I don't think that's better. You know what? Forget it. No cowboy hat, none today. Let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to be talking about Rose Dunn. Have anybody ever heard of Rose Dunn? So Rose Dunn, this story, like I said, this is cowboy era time frame. So this is way, way back in the day. She was like one of those female gunslinging, rootin' tootin' people. And her story is actually pretty interesting. Rose was born September the 5th of 1878. Rose Dunn. She was born September the 5th, 1878. She was born in Ingalls, which is in Native American territory. Ingalls, when you Google it, there's going to be two type of areas. One is going to be around the Pennsylvania area, and then there's another that's like around Oklahoma. So since the story kind of gravitates near the Oklahoma area, I'm going to assume that it's going to be more so for the Oklahoma, although there was no way for me to pinpoint that down. But she was born in Ingalls, which was Native American territory. Now, she had 5 brothers growing up. Now, these brothers are very important. We're going to talk about them in just a minute, but let me go ahead and name off their names. Her 5 brothers, she had B, Calvin, Dal, George, and Bull. And they were her brothers. They grew up with her. So it was 6 of them total. They were poor. These people ain't have no money. They couldn't do nothing. And so because of them being poor and growing up in the lifestyle that they grew up in, the brothers actually went on while they were younger, especially, and they joined gangs. They got involved in a whole lot of gang activities. They did a whole lot of stuff that, you probably don't want to be doing. Now, the brothers, because they were doing a whole lot of gang stuff, they got involved in a lot of robberies, like train robberies, bank robberies, things of that nature, petty robberies, and they also got into cow rustling. Now, All right, so they also got into cattle wrestling. Now I looked up what cattle wrestling was because I just off the thought I thought cattle wrestling was just like cowboy stuff. You know, you wrestling up cattle, but that was a crime. So basically, cattle wrestling was they were stealing cows, which is the same thing. But I mean, like they weren't their cows, so they were actually taking cows that belonged to like other like legitimate ranchers and legitimate cowboys and stuff. They would steal them, they would sell them off, and whatever you did with cows back in the day that's different from today. I don't know, but that was cattle wrestling, and they did that, and so because of this, they were outlaws. Now, also because of this, they got it because they were, there was gang activity. They were their own gang. They also crossed up with a whole bunch of other gangs. One of the gangs in particular that they really got caught up with was this gang called the Wild Bunch. And the Wild Bunch was where Rosa's story it begins to shine, baby. Now, the Wild Bunch, which was also called the Doolin Dalton Gang, there's a little bit of a split off and a whole lot of other stuff into that, but primarily they were called the Wild Bunch, was headed off by two guys. These two guys was Bill Doolin and William Marion Dalton. So, Doolin Dalton Gang. Yet if they had other members, let's go down the members list. There's quite a few of them, but there's a reason why I want to go down this list. William Blake, he went by Tulsa Jack, which I thought was fun. Dean Clifton.
My bad, I meant Dan Clifton. Dan!
His name was Dynamite Dick. You know, everybody always wants some Dynamite Dick. He got that bomb. I think that's why they call him Dynamite.
He got that bomb. I think I'm gonna call him Dynamite.
Then they had Roy Daugherty. I think that's how you pronounce it. Daugherty. It's like daughter, but with a T, like Daugherty. Roy Daugherty. His nickname was Arkansas Tom Jones. So, yeah, everybody's got a nickname. You're about to find it out very quickly. Then you had George Newcomb. Now, George Newcomb, his nickname was Bitter Creek. George is going to come into play in this story. We're going to get to him in just a second, but keep George in the back of your mind. Then you had Charlie Pierce. Then you had William Raiden, and his name was Little Bill. William Raiden was Little Bill. Then you had George Waitman. His name was Red Buck. Then you had Richard West. His name was Little Dick. So you had Dynamite Dick and Little Dick on the same team. I've been called both. I'm just lying. I've only been called one. And then you had Oliver Yantis. And they also had two teenage girls that followed them around. You know, a gang's not complete unless there's a little pedophilia going through there. One girl, her name was Jenny Stevens, and they call her Little Britches. Come here, Little Britches. And then they had Anna Emmeline McDoulet, which they call her Cattle Annie. Yo, these are the most cowboy names you could ever think of. Little Britches and Cowboy Annie. Like, what the freak? It's so fun. It actually makes me want to... No, it doesn't. But, you know, as far as like movie references go, this is pretty fun. Now, the importance of Little Britches and Cattle Annie, the two little teenage girls that followed the gang around, they would do things that the men couldn't do because this was a gang, the Wild Bunch gang. There was a lot of places that they actually just couldn't go to. They couldn't show up at because they were wanted. So Little Britches and Cattle Annie would go to town. They would run errands for them. They would go run a few things, you know, with important people in town that the men couldn't actually do. Sometimes, some of the super important things the men would take care of, but they would do minor things like that. They would also, this was one of their big things, they would also inform the group when the police or the law enforcement, because the police wasn't an actual thing at the time, it was more so just law enforcement. Yeah, whatever. But when law enforcement was after them and where they were going to, if law enforcement knew where they were, stuff like that, they would just keep them updated on that type of stuff. Little Britches and Cattle Annie. So they actually served a pretty good purpose during this time. Another thing that is very important to note about this gang is that Bill Doolin, you know, leader of the Doolin Dalton gang or the Wild Bunch, whatever, he used to be a cowboy back in his day. So, you know, roping and stuff like that. He was very good at this type of stuff. Even though now he was a technical outlaw, he was seen as like a Robin Hood to the people because he and his gang, a lot of the times, the stuff that they would do, they wouldn't do a lot of like harm to regular civilians most of the time. They would actually go for like the rich people. They would go for politicians. They would go for the people that had money, the companies and stuff like that, the big companies. They would rob from them. And so back at the time, people saw it as sort of like I said, like Robin Hood. Like he would attack them, and it was really good. And because of his ties with doing this type of stuff, he actually gained a lot of support from the community. Like if they really needed a place to like hang low, you didn't find a whole lot of people that was like, yo, you can't stay here. A lot of people just help him because, hey, stealing from the rich. Now you may be wondering, what does this got to do with Rose? Okay. So remember, Rose's brothers, they were, in a lot of gang activities when they were younger. But because of her brother's affiliations with crime and stuff back in the day, they actually met her, Rose, through their brothers. Okay, you got it? And so they became affiliated with her. And because she was so pretty, they were fiercely protective of Rose. So they actually took care of Rose. They treated her like, the Princess Diaries. I don't know. And because of this, she gained a lot of loyalty with them. And this led to a strong bond with them, especially George Newcomb. Remember I said, keep that name in the back of your mind. So George Newcomb and this group, he came across Rose, through the brothers, and they started feeling each other. They liked it. They was doing what they do.
You. How you doing there, little lady?
Well, howdy.
What brings you around these parts over here? Well, I'm just a simple girl with simple pleasures and a whole life of living to do. I can do anything that I want to do. Oh, but I desire a life of crime. Well, a little lady like you shouldn't be around here. This isn't the lifestyle you want. Oh, I suppose you're right. But it's you that I want.
And I've never gone with the wind. I just let it flow. Let it take me where it wanna go. When you open the door, and there's so much more. Never seen it before. I was trying to
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Before we're gonna run off together, how old are you, Missy?
How old am I? Well, I'm almost a spinster. Oh, I'm at the old age of 14.
Oh, wait. Never mind. We get it.
Oh, well, I was telling you that I'm 14.
We get it.
I'm 14.
We get it.
Okay.
Now, they initially started hanging around 1893. That's around the time she was like 13, going on 14, and around the time she was 14. That's when she really started to have feelings for George. Now, George was an older man at this point in time, and she was 14. And, back in the day, and I'm just saying this just for actual, historical accuracy, I don't think there was a such thing as pedophiles. Back then, they was giving away girls straight out the coochie. So, like, her being 14, nobody really saw that as a problem. Technically, it was still the 1800s. So, yeah. But anyway, that's when they met. And now, around this time that they did really start to link up, her brothers, so Rose's brothers, they had all left the gang, lifestyle. So, they were in the gang. They met the gang. Because of their, meetings with the gangs met with their sister, the 14-year-old girl, and then they left the gang lifestyle. However, they didn't leave it for nothing. They all left the lifestyle and they became a group of bounty hunters called the Dunn brothers, which is completely flipped. But yeah, they became bounty hunters. I guess they saw that it was more profitable to hunt down criminals than it was to be a criminal. And that's what they became. As you can imagine, this, conflict of interest because her little sister is now hanging out with the gang and they're hunting gangs, but they really didn't seem to affect them at all. And yeah, so after that, they started hunching, for lack of better wording. And Rose decided that she wanted to ride with the gang, despite her brothers being bounty hunters. So that's what it was. I can imagine it was kind of like this.
George, Oh, George.
I knew you'd come around looking for me.
Oh, there you are, George.
How you doing, Rose?
I don't care. I want to be with you forever. Please don't leave without me.
Come with us then. We're about to go hit the road. It's gonna be dangerous. We're gonna do a lot of things that you might not be comfortable with. But if you bring your teenage ass with me, I'll give you the world, Rose.
Okay. Let's go.
If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. Don't be mad once you feel your feet on it. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. I'm up on him, he's up on me. Don't pay him any attention. Look for my team, he's free to give. Take me mad at me. All the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies.
Everyone stay calm and no one gets hurt. My name is George Newcomb. They call me Bitter Creek. And this here, this is a stick-up.
Meanwhile, Rose and George the pedophile, their relationship, what you can call a relationship, whatever, as it pertains to the 1800s, it just got deeper and deeper. And remember, I told you that the gang was already, they were fiercely, protective of Rose because she was very pretty and she was loyal to the gang. So, that just kind of strengthened their bond together. So Rose started doing the same things that Little Britches and Catalani was doing, if they were still there at the time. But she would start running errands to the town. She was doing things that the gang couldn't do in places that they couldn't do, especially when the police were around. She would let them know when the police were coming, if they were on their trails, stuff like that, yada, yada, yada. It is what it is. So we're going to get into an event called the Battle of Ingalls. Now, in order to explain the Battle of Ingalls, I have to talk to you about a few other things. First, the gang found safety in Ingalls, Oklahoma, because of the extremely high population of gangs and people that was running away from the law and things like that were going on. Ingalls, Oklahoma was actually, pretty welcoming towards outlaw and people of the, outlaw nature. The gang had continued to be a part of, like I said, bank robberies, things of that nature that was going on. But it got really, really bad, especially in Ingalls, to the point where the United States actually had to step in and, figure out what they was going to do because they couldn't let this continue going on. This led to someone, his name was Everett Dumas Nix. He was a U.S. Marshal, and he was newly put into position. It led to him getting involved.
I'm just not realizing that they're using the same picture for like a lot of these people. So I'm so sorry if I'm using the same picture for like 2 or 3 people here. Oh well.
To try to fight the crime rate that was, happening in Ingalls, Oklahoma. In his fight to, kind of combat all the crime that was happening in the Ingalls, he decided to gather a posse. Like, y'all, like legit, how much more country and cowboy western can you get? You already got cattle rustling, train robberies, bank robberies. You talking about rustling stuff, and now you're talking about the U.S. Marshal with the star that's now creating a posse to fight a gang. I do not, me personally, I would not want to live back in that time frame. It was just horrible for black people. It was, even with the star on the sheriff, when you find out the history of the sheriff and the star with the star that actually, when you find out the history, it's like, oh, everything was just terrible back in the day. So, woo. But anyway, as far as cowboy goes, it's pretty exciting, I guess. On September the 1st of 1983, this is when the Battle of Ingalls actually takes place. At this point in time, the U.S. Marshal actually pulled up in Ingalls, and he was ready. He was ready to go. He had his posse of people with him, and they rolled up ready to get control of the gang problem that was happening on out there.
Stick 'em up. Only thing I'm going to stick is my size 13 boot up your ass.
This town ain't big enough for the two of us. You know, you might be right. So how about you take your fat ass over yonder to the other town over there? Are you calling me fat? Well, I ain't calling you for dinner, fat ass. Well, shoot, I see why everyone has beef with you. You got beef with everyone around here now. You got beef with me. Well, you know, if you laid off the beef, you wouldn't even be here with your fat ass. That's it, boys. Shoot him up.
The gang was outside the saloon and they kind of was cornered into the saloon because of the posse that had gathered around them. The battle was crazy. So the gang started shooting at the U.S. Marshal and the posse outside, and they started shooting back. I'm talking about bullets were flying left and right. A horse got in the way and died, which, I mean, that's not funny. A horse died. But it was just funny that it was mentioned that a horse got in the way and died. I mean, like, and whatever. So the law was shooting so hard that the gang ran inside of the saloon and, you know, they were trying to stay up in there, but the saloon was getting shot up so bad that they actually had to leave out of, there was like a side door. The gang had to run through the side door and leave the saloon, and then they ran to a stable that was back there. This part is so stupid. So the gang, once again, they're still shooting. They're shooting for their lives, dipping and ducking, but the saloon's getting shot up. You got this one guy who owns the saloon, and he went by this name Murray, which first thought was Steve Murray, but not, is it Bill Murray? Bill Murray. Anyway, so they were outside the gang. The gang was running outside, and Murray, who was the owner of the saloon, he decided, you know what? I'm with the crooks. I'm going to fight the U.S. government, the marshal. I'm going to defend my saloon. Y'all finna be shooting up my saloon, whatever. So Murray gets his old crazy ass in front. They're lighting the saloon up. Murray gets his gun. He goes to get in front of the U.S. marshal in front of the saloon. Puts that gun up. Y'all get off my. Y'all, they lit that man up. Bow, 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 like lit him up. So he got shot down. He didn't die though. They shot him like in his arm. They shot him in his leg. I want to say he got shot in his side as well. Like Murray got lit. He went down almost instantly. Like he didn't even hold up a fight. Like why? But now he got shot in the arm, the ribs, and he was arrested. Now let's talk about Arkansas Tom. Now Arkansas Tom, he was at an angle. They said he was at a very elevated angle, so I'm assuming he was on top of one of the buildings. But he was at a place where he could easily shoot them, like the posse and the U.S. Marshal, but they couldn't really get a good shot at him. So once again, I'm assuming he was on top of this doggone saloon. So he's up there shooting, and he's good. Arkansas Tom, he got that gun on lock. Where's my gun? So Arkansas Tom, he got the thing on lock. He's getting that gun like this. They couldn't come to my country. Not on my watch. So Arkansas Tom is up there. He's lighting them up, and it causes the U.S. Marshal and the posse to have to like dip and hide. So they're like ducking and dodging, trying to hide behind stuff to try to get out of Arkansas Tom's way. They're shooting up at him, but once again, because of his angle, they really couldn't get a good shot at Arkansas Tom. So he was in a really, really good spot. Arkansas Tom actually was so good that he actually shot the deputy marshal. His name was Thomas Houston. He shot him down. He got so badly injured. He didn't die that day, but he died the next day. So yeah, Arkansas, he did the job on that. Now, Arkansas Tom was not the only one who was doing it up with the gun. Bill Doolin was there as well. Now, all these people getting shot up and stuff, Bill Doolin came through, and he also shot somebody. He actually shot and killed the Special Deputy Marshal Richard Speed. So he killed Richard Speed as well. So there's two marshals that are down at this point in time. And it wouldn't be called the Doolin-Dalton gang unless Dalton did something too. So Dalton actually got around and he shot the Deputy Marshal Lafayette Chadley. And he also died the next day. So, we got three marshals that are down. I wasn't quite sure how many people there were actually inside this posse that, they gathered together. But, this actually pretty doggone, I don't want to say good. I don't want to just side with the criminals here. But I can't help it. It's Cowboys. How can you hate the Cowboys? Dynamite Dick You know, that guy there, Dynamite Dick. Now, Dynamite Dick actually got shot. Now, he got shot in the neck. I mean, ouch. So after Dynamite Dick got shot in the neck, you know, he fell back and he was like, oh, but he was able to still ride. So because Dynamite Dick was able to still ride, he was able to, you know, kind of get up and hide and, you know, get off, you know, out the way a little bit. He was able to get on his horse and he was able to get away. Dynamite Dick. Now, while Dynamite Dick was riding away on his horse, you know, what this man's name is, Arkansas Tom, he was still up there giving the U.S. Marshals the business in that posse, and they got tired of it. So one of the marshals actually had got some dynamite. I don't know where they got the dynamite from. I don't know if they came prepared to have dynamite, but they brought some dynamite. They got some dynamite, they lit it up, and they threw it to where Arkansas Tom was at, which once again, it never told me exactly where Arkansas Tom was at, but it seemed like he was on top of a building. So they got the dynamite, they threw it up to where dynamite was, where Arkansas Tom was, and it blew up. So it did not kill Arkansas Tom, but it was able to stun him. It was able to stun him, and he got hurt a little bit. It was just enough where they were able to come and they were able to subdue Arkansas Tom. So he was arrested. Now, once again, it did not say that he was on top of a building. It just says he was, at a highly elevated place. So he could have been like up in some trees or maybe on a hill. I do not know. But yeah, they threw some dynamite. They blew him down. He got stunned. They were able to arrest him, during his stun phase. Let's talk about George Newcomb or Bitter Creek here, because the real story we're talking about is George Newcomb and his relationship with Rose Dunn, the little Rose here. So legend has it that George, when the battle was going on, George was sitting there, he was shooting round after round after round, like he was holding it down, POP. And so it was at one point in time where the marshals were backing them in so bad that they were running out of ammo. So Rose, this dumb girl, she was right, they were all dumb, but I'm just saying, she was struck by the Dynamite Dick and not from Dynamite Dick. So she risked her life and she ran across open fire to try to get ammo over to George Newcomb. He had been shot at this point, but he was still firing back. So she was doing this so she could save her man. She wanted to save her Dynamite D word. And so that's what she did. That is what the legend has us. She was out there dodging bullets, dipping and dodging. You ever seen The Matrix? She was hitting this number here while bullets were flying. And, she did all this so she could reload and get bullets to George. However, one of the marshals that actually was there, they actually did an account on what actually happened. He said none of that happened. What he said is that George actually maybe fired 2 shots before he got gunned. He got gunned. And then after he got gunned, he ran like a little bitch. And Rose followed. Because why not? But yeah, that's what the marshal said. However, legend has it that he fought admirably and Rose was there to reload. I don't know. I do not know. But that's what legend and what a marshal says. Let me tell you about a few things that we know here. Dynamite Dick escaped with a shot neck. Remember Dynamite Dick? He got shot in the neck. He was able to escape. Arkansas Tom was captured. He was the one that threw the dynamite up and, they stunned him. He was captured. The rest of the gang was also able to escape unhurt. They got away with it. So for now, at least. So now we're in the year 1895. All right. So just a couple years after this. So Rose had consistently been taking care of George and Charlie Pierce. She had been taking care of them. They, kind of worked their way back up to health. Everything was all good with them, and they still checked in where Rose had settled down. It was in a place in Norman, Oklahoma. Now, by this time, there was a bounty that was put on George's head of $5,000. $5,000 back in 1895. In today's money, y'all, that's $187,226.19. That is a lot of money that's on somebody's head. Also, the rest of the gang up until this point had, they were most of them had already been captured or killed by either the Dunn brothers, because remember, her brothers were bounty hunters, or by other law enforcement. So most of the other gang had already been captured or killed at this point. Some were still out there. But yeah, this is where we at right now. Now, Rose, because that's her family, she stayed in contact with her brothers. The Dunn brothers, the bounty hunters who are after her husband or boyfriend or whatever he was. I don't know if they ever got married. Because he was an outlaw, she was still in contact with him. And, they still had a good relationship or whatever. So one day, they decided to track her down. Even though they were in contact with her, I'm assuming she didn't tell her exactly where she lived because for fear that they might come and get her boyfriend, George, and that other dude, which I can't remember his freaking name, Charlie Pierce. So she didn't tell them where she lived because of this. They tracked her down one day without her knowledge. I'm not sure exactly where they found her at, but they caught her. They're bounty hunters, so I guess whatever. They followed her all the way back to her house where she stayed up in Norman, Oklahoma. Once they followed her there, they did not let her know that they were there. They tracked her. They followed her to a house, and then they kind of waited. What they were waiting for? They was waiting for who they knew was going to show up. So Charlie and George, actually, they showed up to the house to check up on Rose. And as soon as they dismounted their horses, the Dunn brothers, so Rose's brothers, they jumped out like Batman and they gunned them down, killed both of them because that bounty was dead or alive. That $5,000 or the $187,000 in today's money, that was dead or alive money. So why take them alive when you can kill them? Now, after they got them, they got the bounty. Ooh, whoop-de-boo, everybody's happy. But now, it leads back to Rose because Rose was affiliated with them. She's affiliated with the gang members and her brothers were bounty hunters. So there became a big problem with Rose and the other people that she was associated with, through their lifestyle because they thought that Rose has sold out George and Charlie. And so there was a lot of issues that had arisen between Rose and the rest of her friends or the people that was in that lifestyle. Her brothers had come forth and they even claimed they're like, no, she had no idea. She didn't tell her where she lived. We followed her. Like she didn't know we were coming. It ain't her fault, yada, 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 bada bing, bada boom, bada bam. And this corroborated Rose's story that she had no idea. Like she didn't know that they followed her home. They were trackers. They were bounty hunters. So they found her and they tracked her without her knowledge. Because she was pretty and because she was a woman, y'all, they never pressed charges. And you may be wondering, press charges for what? Y'all, she was affiliated with gangs. She, according to legend, was helping them reload firing back at U.S. Marshals. She was letting them know when gangs, when the law enforcement was after her boyfriend and the rest of the gang members. So, I mean, in today's time, definitely, affiliation and association and, helping that type of stuff will land you in jail. Maybe that wasn't really the case back in the day, but because she was a woman and because she was pretty, they found no charges against her. She got off scot-free. Now, Rose, she's quick to get over it. In 1898, she met this politician. His name was Charles Albert Noble. And they fell in love. They got together. And then that was it. They got married. Everyone just completely forgot about her gang affiliation with, the lifestyle. They eventually did leave Oklahoma so they could literally leave everything behind. But yeah, Rose went on to live a regular life. She died, I want to say, like in the 1930s, I believe is when she died, 30s or 40s. But yeah, she grew up, had brothers who were in gangs. They became bounty hunters. She joined a gang. She helped them kill people. And when her boyfriend got killed, she just like, oh, well, I'm going to be a regular lady now. Married a politician and lived the rest of her life happy. In either case, I mean, I guess I ain't mad at her, but that is the story of Rose Dunn. The Rose, I think they call her Dusty Rose or something like that. I don't know. But she had a pretty little fulfilling life and, humping gang members. In either case, you guys, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this story. I know it may not be the longest story. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any other suggestions, please don't hesitate to, hit my DMs, especially on TikTok. Hit my DMs on TikTok. I check those more often than the other ones. Also, make sure you guys follow my Facebook account, which I'm going to have it linked in the description so you can follow the correct one. Because remember, I said there's other accounts out there that are doing the same thing. They're taking my stuff, but I mean, I can't do nothing about that. But just make sure you guys follow my Facebook account. I'm also going to be uploading there as well. Yeah, that's about it. I want to try to get more YouTube specific videos for you guys, so you guys can have something to like look forward to on YouTube. That way I can do longer stuff. I can be a little more creative. I'm going to try to get a video done at least every 2 weeks, but you know, don't get mad if it's a little later. In either case, I love you guys. I want you guys to be safe. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Tell me what you think. Hit me up. Y'all have a safe day. And remember, yeah.